Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys the first perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a crazy show for y'all, but before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. So yesterday, Stephen A. Smith set the NBA community ablaze with some of his comments that he made yesterday on ESPN First Take. And he left Chris Mad Dog Russo just absolutely speechless. So, as you guys know, Kevin Durant joined the exclusive club of NBA players to have scored 30,000 points, right? So kudos to Kevin Durant. Congratulations to him. I think he's one of 8 players that has done it. He's a top 10 scorer of all time in terms of his point rankings, and he's one of the greatest scorers we've ever seen play basketball. The guy has 4 scoring titles. We obviously know his efficiency, his physical attributes, his clutch, the clutchness that he plays with, especially how we saw him perform in the NBA Finals. So Kevin Durant is a hell of a player. No one has ever questioned this, right? But I had never really heard anyone make an argument for Kevin Durant being a top 10 player. I'd never really heard anyone make that argument. And yesterday was the first time I ever heard someone say that Kevin Durant is a top 10 player. And that was when Stephen A. Smith said it. Obviously, we all know the back and forth that Stephen A. Smith has had with Kevin Durant historically. But for him to go out there and say that he believes that KD is top 10 all time, that sent a jolt through the NBA community. And a lot of people have been pushing back. And one of the people that pushed back on him yesterday was Chris Mad Dog Russo. And really, that's the audio that we want to get into. But before we even get into this, because I have a lot of thoughts on this, today's video is brought to you by our sponsor, PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports with over 10 million members. PrizePicks makes it easy to get real money action on the sports and players you love. You pick more or less on at least 2 for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. For example, this week on PrizePicks, I'm looking at the upcoming NBA schedule and selecting Stephen Curry for more than 29 points and Kevin Durant for more than 27 points and Anthony Davis for more than 12 rebounds and Luka Doncic for more than 8 assists. If you're like me and you like to play it safe, you'll love PrizePicks' new feature, Flex Plays. It's the safest way to play. You can still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect. Plus, you can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. On top of this, PrizePicks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money as quick as in 15 minutes. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we'd like to do now is we'd like to play what Stephen A. Smith had to say, a little bit of his rationale behind having Kevin Durant in the top 10. We want to play a bit of the rebuttal that Chris Mad Dog Russo put forth, and then we're going to come back and really get into this show. So take a listen to these guys here.
This is a top 10 player of all time. This is a top 3 scorer in the history of basketball. He's that elite. We keep forgetting that he was out the better part of 2 years because of that torn Achilles tendon that he suffered against the Toronto Raptors in the finals. When he went down permanently, he was out the entire year. We keep forgetting prior to that in Oklahoma City, he had missed a huge chunk of time because of injuries that he sustained. When this brother is on the court, he's a career 27.2 per game scorer. That's 6th all time, behind Jordan, Wilt, Luka, Embiid, and Elgin Baylor. That's 6th all time. We're looking at 4 NBA scoring titles. Only Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain had more, doggy. We're looking at 2 NBA Finals MVPs. Only Jordan, LeBron, Shaq, Magic, and Tim Duncan had more. This is who we're talking about when we talk about Kevin Durant. A 6'11", 7-footer with a handle, with a perimeter game, with a three-point shot, with a mid-range game, with free throw shooting excellence as well. And we didn't even bring up his defense, which is underrated. Let me say something else about him. It doesn't matter how temperamental he gets, how truculent he gets. He can get a bit petty. He can get a bit emotional. Sometimes he makes the wrong decision. I don't know if it was the right decision for him to go from Golden State to Brooklyn. All of those things being said, he's still a great dude. Kevin Durant is good people. He's a great ambassador for the game of basketball. Okay, he's never cheated the game. When he's on the court, he's on the court. When we question his leadership ability, meaning somebody like me, it was because of the apparent inability for him to peel out maximum effort from others he may have had around him for one reason or another. The way we saw Jordan do it. The way we believed we saw Kobe do it after Shaq departed when he went to 3 straight and won 2 straight, okay? All of those things. But Kevin Durant, the basketball player, the individual exceptional talent that he is, exceptional is underrating him. He's sensational. He's an all-timer. Top 10 all-time, top 3 player scorer argument. I'm not talking about stats. I'm talking about ability. KD is a top 3 scorer, easily a top 10 player of all time.
You're putting a scorer and a player in different categories. He did not win a championship without Curry, if you want me to play that game. And
Go ahead.
Be fair on Will. Be fair on Will. He anchored 2 of the greatest teams in the history of the NBA. That has to count for something.
Hold it. Didn't Wilt have the silhouette? Didn't he have Goodrich and those guys? I mean, didn't he have Jerry West? I'm sorry, didn't he have him? I mean, it wasn't like he was devoid of weapons, dog.
That's the point.
How about the first one?
What year was that?
67, 68. Well, no, 66, 67. It wasn't that long ago.
Okay.
It
wasn't that long ago. Okay, the year I was born. Like I said, he's a foot taller than 99% of the competition. My point to you is I'm not trying to take away from Wilt, but I'm looking at the direct nemesis. Yeah. A direct nemesis has 11 titles to your 2. That is not Kevin Durant.
When you are talking about, we agree. No argument. You're making it sound like I'm making a big deal. You have him.
You said he's not top. He might be top 10.
What difference does it make?
Oh, welcome back.
You got him 5 or 6 spots. So you're making such a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Well, hold it now.
He's top 10.
How about the intangibles of greatness? There is an intangible quality to anybody with greatness. There's an intangible quality. Intangible. Does he have that? Does he have that intangible quality? Has he shown that when he was up?
What is it? Put a name on what the intangible quality is.
You know what it is?
Quickly, because then we have to move on.
Here's an intangible quality. 3-2 up on Golden State at home with an 8-point lead in the 4 minutes.
He was just ahead of the curve.
OKC. Go win the game if you're Durant.
So you heard what these guys had to say. Chris Mad Dog couldn't believe what Stephen A was saying, that Kevin Durant is a top 10 player. What are my thoughts on this? First of all, I don't think Kevin Durant is a top 10 guy. Okay, now I'm just going to give you guys some of the players I have in my top 10 in no particular order. We have Jordan, we have Kobe, we have Kareem, we have LeBron, we have Bird, we have Russell, we have Akeem. I have Akeem. We have Duncan, we have Magic, and we have Shaq. Okay, now some people may say, well, Wilt is interchangeable. You can move him out with Kareem, no problem. But Kareem, I believe, is a top 10 player of all time. Go look at his resume. Go look at some of those playoff runs that he's had. Go look at his numbers. He's arguably the best defensive player in terms of a big man ever. I mean, he was that stout as a defender, and he could score. And Michael Jordan, I remember MJ saying that if he had to pick a 5 to go out there and play with, Hakeem was one of the people he picked. After, I believe he picked Scottie Pippen. I think he picked Worthy, and I forgot who else he picked. So Hakeem Olajuwon is the real deal. I have him in my top 10. But things could change over time. But for now, he's in my top 10, and I think he deserves to be there. But some people are going to dispute that, right? Which is fine. Now, let's look at some of the other players that are outside of the top 10. Because after that, you have Curry, you have KD, you have Worthy, you have West, you have Dr. J, you have Kawhi, you have Giannis, you have the Joker, you have Malone, you have David Robinson. And some people would make an argument that some of these people I just mentioned in that top 20, a lot of those guys could or should be ahead of Kevin Durant. But to say that Kevin Durant is in the top 10, we then have to ask the question, and this is the thing that a lot of people don't do whenever they put out these lists. It's like, okay, well, he's in the top 10. They're like 100 people. Some people have 100 people in their top 10. Okay. If you're going to stay the top 10, who are you removing out of the top 10? Well, let's go through some of the players in my list. Okay. Are we removing Jordan for KD? No. Are we removing Kobe for KD? No. Are we removing Kareem for KD? No. Are we removing LeBron for KD? Hell no. Are we removing Bird for KD? No. Are we removing KD for Russell? No. Are we removing KD for Kareem? Now, some people would say yes. I say no. Because if you're going to remove Hakeem, the next person you got to bring it right up there is Wilt. But that's just me. So you have no. Then you have Duncan. Hell no. Are you removing Magic Johnson for KD? Hell no. Are you going to remove KD for Shaq? Hell no. So what Chris Mad Dog Russo would have been better off doing was asking, okay, look, fine. You have Kevin Durant in your top 10. Fantastic. That's your opinion. Quickly, list your top 10 players right now. And who do you have KD over? Because if you can't do that, then you can't really substantiate your position. What I'm saying is, I'm not putting KD over any of these guys that I just mentioned. I'm just not. And then if we go outside the top 10, bro, you got some stout candidates out there. You still got Giannis. You still got Stephen Curry. You still got Nikola Jokic. I mean, it ain't so easy. It ain't so easy to just move KD past them. So that all of a sudden, and then of course you got Wilt and all of these guys. So I don't know about all of that. Now, obviously, this is just my opinion. So the question to the audience is quite simple. Number one, do you think Kevin Durant is a top 10 player? Yes or no? And number two, where do you have him ranked all time, regardless of where he is? Top 10, top 15, top 20, whatever you guys think. Please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We'll go ahead and catch y'all on the next episode. Peace.